Hello, and welcome to this week's news bulletin from the Christian Institute. The BBC has been accused of viewing religious faith as a hangover from a bygone age by one of its former newsroom broadcasters. Dennis Sewell, who worked for the corporation for more than 20 years, says the broadcaster has a liberal bias that is more cultural than political. Mr. Sewell has published a report examining the issue in which he accuses the BBC of being over-considerate towards Islam, in marked contrast to its treatment of Christianity. Mr. Sewell also said, there are certain people and things that the BBC institutionally doesn't much care for, including evangelical Christians. Commentator Christina Adoni has experienced contact with the BBC regarding religious programming and said that some producers are knowledgeable about the issue in question, respectful of my beliefs and unbiased. But then there's the dud producer whose sneering attitude towards religion in general and Christianity in particular oozes from every word. Sadly, the duds outnumber the good guys. A safeguard that prevents blood donations from men who have ever had gay sex is set to remain in Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland Health Minister Edwin Poots says the rights of people to receive safe blood are more important than the rights of people to donate. The rule exists because of medical advice showing that men who have sex with men have, as a group, a higher risk of sexually acquired blood-borne viruses like HIV. Mr. Poots, speaking on BBC's Sunday Politics programme, said he did not want the ban to apply to gay people only.
I think that people who engage in high-risk sexual behaviour in general should be excluded from giving blood. So if someone has sex with somebody in Africa or has sex with prostitutes, I am very reluctant about those people being able to give blood, and certainly I'm raising a whole range of areas with SABTO. What is important is that we retain confidence in the system.
But there are rights of people here. People feel they're being discriminated against.
The rights that are important is the right of the person who's receiving the blood to have confidence that that blood is not something which is going to infect them with something else.
Lord Carey has hit back at comments made by the policing minister Nick Herbert, who accused Christian leaders of being judgmental and intolerant for supporting traditional marriage. Former Archbishop of Canterbury Dr. Carey, writing in The Times, says the minister's comments have left many people feeling alienated and distant from his government, adding, "It is in fact the supporters of traditional marriage who have been accused of bigotry and homophobia, the kind of intolerant and judgmental language Mr. Herbert talked about in his interview." Meanwhile, it's understood that a clear majority of those who responded to the Scottish Government's consultation on redefining marriage want it to remain the union of one man and one woman. Around 70,000 people took part, making it the biggest ever response to a consultation in Scotland. About 50,000 want to keep marriage as it is. Campaign group Scotland for Marriage say the Scottish Government must listen to the people, adding, "It would be an abandonment of every principle of justice to ignore such a majority." Some other news in brief now. And school inspectors have praised primary schools for labelling children as young as 4 transgender. A new Ofsted report commends schools where transgender pupils are taken seriously and gender-neutral environments are encouraged. But the Daily Mail's Steve Doughty hit out at the report saying, "It is not the job of teachers to pick out which children belong to which sexual minority, and especially not at ludicrously young ages." Culture Minister Ed Vaizey has said that the government is to consider giving sex education videos a cinema style over 12 or over 15 age ratings. It follows recent action taken by the government against overly explicit content, with both the BBC and Channel 4 being ordered to clean up their sex education materials. And a petition to curb children's access to pornography is approaching 100,000 signatures. Safety Net's petition, which is supported by Premier Christian Media Trust and Safer Media, calls on the government to force internet service providers to make accessing pornography an adult-only opt-in service. And finally, following Bubba Watson's golfing success at the Masters in April, this year's second major golf title has been won by a fellow Christian. The new US Open champion, Webb Simpson, said it was prayer that calmed his nerves and allowed him to win his first major golf championship. Simpson is a supporter of the PGA Tour's Bible study and often tweets Bible verses and Christian quotes. The morning after his victory, he tweeted, "Thanks to everyone for the support and encouragement. Humbled to win the US Open. Thankful to God for His grace in my life." Here's a short insight into Webb's walk with God.
He has the love of Jesus Christ that just pours out of him. He's so full of joy and life and energy. I think people like being around a guy like that. I know I like being around a guy like that.
He loves the Lord. He tries to do everything he can when he plays on the golf course to glorify the Lord. To him, it's more about how he can use golf to reach other people.
I feel very lucky that I have certain people around me that have the same beliefs I do and have the same understanding that I do.
I love you.
Love you. See you.
Oh.
And so I have the perspective and outlook on golf that allows me to play with freedom and know that if all goes bad and I can't play anymore, that life is still good.
Well, that's all for this week. For more information and regular updates on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.